China winning, as the West remains paralyzed by bloodline versus Illuminati battle. The Western world remains paralyzed by an elite civil war, while China keeps getting stronger and stronger and is heading towards absolute dominance. Unless the civil war is ended, the G6 Western alliance will lose the ability to control the United Nations and the direction humanity chooses for its future. The civil war was on full display at last week, as US President Donald Trump didn't fare too well at the NATO meetings in London, and left abruptly after the Canadian Premier was overheard being disrespectful to him, according to European royal family sources. The school playground type of tricks masked the fact that the real topic of the summit was the funding of US corporate government, the source also said. Trump has been a disappointment, I think. His job was to win down and reboot. Trump has been recently given a couple of reminders that he's dealing with bigger issues than keeping a US stock market bubble inflated long enough for him to be re-elected in 2020. One was the shutdown of Washington, D.C. air defenses that left him totally vulnerable to a missile or air attack. The other was when he was hit with psychotronic weapon on November 21st. The Gnostic Illuminati military intelligence types behind Trump, for their part, have been lashing out strongly against the British royals, especially after the failed NATO summit. Pentagon sources say the royal family saga is far from over, as Trump denies knowing, and even Canada's military struggles with Prince Andrew 3 colonels-in-chief titles. Then, there was the undeniable satanic hand sign made by Prince Harry when he met Melania Trump on December 6. Sources close to Harry say the sign meant he supported Lucifer as defined by the Gnostic Illuminati. In their worldview, the current God is the evil cause of all the suffering in this world and needed to be replaced by Lucifer, a symbol of light and good. It also was a job at defining right of rule that placed Prince Charles and Harry's older brother William ahead of him in the line of royal successions, the sources say. Harry is also angered by evidence showing Charles was behind the murder of his mother, Princess Diana. See the link below for details. Pentagon sources add, the Zionists are in for a rude awakening, as the EU is now headed by former German Defense Minister Ursula von der Leyen, fronting for Bundeswehr, who are no fans of UK royals, Saudi Arabia or Israel. Unprecedented strikes that are shutting down France are also a sign that the Illuminati are targeting Rothschild slave President Emmanuel Macron. As you will see further below, the Swiss branch of the Rothschild family is also under severe attack. Inside the US, more and more Democratic Party politicians are being replaced by computer graphics as arrests and retentions by Guantanamo Bay continued, Pentagon sources say. With over 140,000 sealed indictments, the Department of Justice Inspector General is releasing its long-awaited report to crush the impeachment cycles, the sources say. While we have heard the 140,000 indictment story many times and have yet to see any mass arrest, the Justice Department did indict 8 individuals, including a convicted pedophile, for illegally funneling money into Hillary Clinton's presidential campaign in 2016. Attempts to discredit Trump by releasing evidence of his being financed by Deutsche Bank are also being stopped. The British press are reporting that a Deutsche Bank banker who handled Trump's account was found hanged. Meanwhile, U.S. corporate media report that Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg temporarily blocked a lower court ruling ordering 2 banks to release President Donald Trump's financial records to House Democrats. Since we are pretty sure Ginsburg is no longer with the U.S., we can only assume that intelligence agency sources are using a computer-generated image for her to protect Trump. All of this infighting is taking place while the U.S. corporate government has yet to find a way to finance its operations past January 31st, 2020, European royal family sources say. However, There are negotiations now taking place between representatives of the 1.2 billion member British Commonwealth and the 1.5 billion member of Catholic Church to decide what to replace the US corporate government with, according to Peter Freemansons and European royals involved in the negotiations. The negotiations are being stalled by some medieval mind people at the P2 Lodge, who still think in terms of a battle against Islam. As far as we can tell, the only really significant difference between Islam and Christianity is the issue of polygamy. Anthropological data shows that almost every known society historically has practiced polygamy. Also, the amount of homosexual men tends to be equal to the amount of men who cannot find wives because of polygamy. This is evidence from the actual creation and thirst by the Creator. Furthermore, Western Christian countries that ban polygamy all have striking populations, while societies that practice polygamy all have growing populations. In any case, while issues of this sort are denying a final agreement, a broad consensus has already been reached to set up a meritocratically staffed world planning agency with an annual budget of at least $1 trillion, the sources say. There is also agreement that the agency will finance human expansions into the universe, they add. To this end, Pentagon sources confirm that, with Boeing against the ropes, the U.S. Air Force is preparing to declassify the secret space program to shake up the military-industrial complex and generate support for a space force. That means that finally, at the very least, Area 51 will reveal some of its secrets. Our CIA source in Southeast Asia, meanwhile, is reporting that the legendary gold treasures buried there are finally being moved as part of a reboot of the world financial system. The evidence comes from an explosion at the Monas Monument in Indonesia, believed to be a top one of the largest gold hoards, the sources say. Here's his report. A senior Indonesian military source tells me a smoke bomb that was detonated by members of the Indonesian army at the Monas Monument on Tuesday morning at 7 o'clock was done as a diversion. The tunnel is now operational. It looks like they are about to move the gold. The incident below shows what a group does when they want to make one of their own a scapegoat. Take note of who's in the photo, more diversion away from the real perpetrators who are puppets for the Xenian cable. I asked my contact, who is a member of the parliament in Jakarta, about this incident. His reply was, "This type of importation to Indonesia is done on a daily basis." The CEO of Garuda had bad luck and bad timing on his side. Unbeknown to him, he was chosen to be an example of how efficient the minister are at tackling corruption. They held a big press conference for the people to show off, smile for the cameras, and get their names in the media. I know for a fact that certain ministers in Jakarta are importing Ferrari and Lamborghini luxury sports car into Indonesia without paying the import duty of up to 200%. They are assisted by high-ranking custom officials who receive nice commissions for looking the other way. Glencore investigation is about someone going for a jugular vein of the Xenia's cable. It looks like the Thurn families are fighting each other. As you know, Glencore was founded by Mark Rich. This is at the top of the financial pyramid for the Khazarian Xenia's cable. From the above article, guess who is bragged in the limelight from the Gulf of Mexico oil spill? One of the cable puppets. In response to the DOJ investigation, with which the company also say it's cooperating, Glencore set up a broad committee to respond to the U.S. probe that include chairman and former BP Chief Executive Officer Tony Hayward. As a reminder, Glencore is a Rothschild corporation based in Zurich, Switzerland. For decades, it was paying off both Iranian and Israeli government officials as they manipulate the world's oil markets with a scam that, Iran must be bombed because they are going to get a nuclear weapon within a few months. If Glencore is taken out, you can be sure that the beast won't be far behind. The concerned Zionists, for their part, announced spreading rumors of some sort of nuclear incident on December 21st, the day of the winter solstice. They have been warned that the Gnostic Illuminati still have 3 500 megaton nuclear bombs at their disposal and will retaliate against any further Zionist mass murder attack. To conclude this week's report, we can report that a secret meeting is scheduled for Friday the 13th of December. Its aim is to figure out the best way to end the Western Civil War and start world peace.